This video is going to cover how to multiply fractions. I think there's a lot of confusion because a lot of kids think that you need to get a common denominator in order to combine fractions together, and that's just not the case. The one thing that you have to understand is that this is a top number, and when you have a whole number, it's also a top number. And this is a bottom number. And you have to remember that bottom numbers can cancel top numbers, and top numbers can cancel bottom numbers. But if you have two top numbers, you literally have to multiply them. And so what I do is I tell my kids to just make one large fraction line between the two. That means that I can take this 5 and this 15 splits into 5 and 3, and so I can cancel that 5. So the only thing that's left is 3 times 4, and so this answer would be 12. I can do the exact same thing with this one. So the tip is, when you're taking a whole number and you're multiplying it by a fraction, if you can divide first and then multiply. 7 divided into 28 is 4, and 4 times 5 is 20. When you have two fractions multiplied by one another, make one large fraction line, and then you can reduce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor each one of these numbers. So this is 5 times 5, and this is 9 times 5. This one would be 7 times 2, and this would be 7 times 3. Any number that you see that's on the top and the bottom that's the same, they cancel. So those two would cancel. The same thing would go for these two 7s. Those two 7s would cancel. The 3 right here will cancel the 9, and that changes to a 3. And then the only numbers that are left on the top are the 2 and the 3, and so that gives you 6. And there's only the 5 left on the bottom. So instead of getting two huge numbers by multiplying straight across and then trying to simplify the fraction, always cancel first. This is a typical ACT or SAT question. Well, they'll have a bunch of fractions lined up with one another. And so remember, these are all one fraction, so I can just connect them all together. Any number that I see on the top that's the same as the bottom, I can cancel. So those 3's cancel, those 4's cancel, these 5's cancel, those 6's cancel. I have a 7 here and I have a 14 there. So the 7 cancels, and that makes that a 2. And then I only have two 2's left on the top. 2 times 2 is 4. And then there's only 11 left on the bottom. And so that would be the answer. I hope that's helpful.